All right. Well, we will give it one more second for folks to come in and kick things off as soon as LinkedIn gets going. Go out or start. All right. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to another LinkedIn Live episode with the Nuage team here, Fireside Chat, our office hours with interactive Q&A. And today I'm joined by way of introduction with Lou Balla, CEO of our organization, Glenn Saunders, COO of our organization. Do you guys want to give quick intros and tell the audience what you do and how you do things?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Lou Balla, CEO of Nuage, founded Nuage back in 2011 with a focus on selling, implementing NetSuite, and have migrated in the last couple of years to adding additional services, managed services, help customers optimize their NetSuite instance, and then also do the same for Salesforce customers.
Awesome. I'm Glenn Saunders, COO here, and I've been doing ERP systems for 20 plus years. Have a background in quite a few different ones, but focused on NetSuite really since 2012 with a core focus on NetSuite since 2016, and seen a lot of different things with the NetSuite ecosystem, obviously, implementation-wise, from manufacturing, distribution organizations. And so I lead all of our services team, both the implementation transformation team, as well as our optimization team, which we call Stratus. And look forward to chatting with you guys today.
Well, thanks, guys. We're going to kick things off by asking you to pull out your crystal balls. So today we are going to be talking about our predictions, what we're anticipating for 2026. So I wanted to start, and Lou, maybe you'll take first crack at this. NetSuite Next, rolling out a ton of new features, a ton of very exciting announcements in SuiteWorld this year. Let's start with what NetSuite Next features you realistically expect to ship in 2026. What are you most excited for? And if you could maybe elaborate on these, Glenn, that would be super helpful.
Sure. So, based on Oracle's cadence, who they're hiring, and, what we heard at SuiteWorld, we're kind of expecting three things to actually materialize in 2026. So I think the first one is probably transactional level AI recommendations. So they'll surface anomalies, things that are not quite right in the system, maybe identify missing configurations, and then really help with workflow optimizations. I think number two, probably like a unified data layer that'll consolidate suite analytics, save searches, data sets into like a single AI model, AI indexable model. And then the third one is probably more centered on the Suite Cloud platform, making it easier to decouple customizations from upgrades.
Yeah, I think so. You'll be happy to know that the financial exception management is already out. And you guys, I installed it in our instance. So it's already identified a couple of transactions in our instance that didn't have matching bills, receipts, whatever it may be. So it's good to see them taking those steps with those things. And I certainly think the unified data layer is going to be something that's going to have massive impact for our customers. And I think the quicker they can get there, I think that's the big value, because we struggle sometimes should we use Save Search, Suite Analytics, reporting, customization to do those types of things. And then I think making the workflow more intuitive for end users is going to provide tremendous value. And I think that's something they've been trying to get to for quite some time. And I think that's going to be some of the bigger things that will impact our customer base going into 2026.
And I know we've got a finger on the pulse as it relates to the threads out there from Reddit to Facebook with the different user groups that we're part of, our peer groups. I would ask the both of you, and maybe Glenn, if you could take a crack at this first. what are customers worried about, both from a macroeconomic standpoint? How are they leveraging or planning to leverage NetSuite? And in the same vein, areas where they're seeking improvements with the NetSuite application, especially with our managed services side, and some of those glaring issues that we're resolving now and Q1, Q2 next year.
Yeah, I think one of the consistent things that we have seen is some level of frustration with some of the warehouse management capabilities in NetSuite. I think that's an area where we've had a lot of organizations come to us and express frustration in our ability to help them. You know, one of the unique things that we can do, not saying that anybody can't, but we've taken the opportunity to try to customize some of the mobile applications to fit specific user needs, and had some success with that with a lot of our organizations. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the bigger ones that we've seen quite a bit of frustration and opportunity as far as we are in that area.
You know, and I guess to the same point, with all of these AI capabilities being rolled out at a lightning pace, we've seen the MCP connector, Anthropic. I think you see everybody's LinkedIn post now of what they're able to do, Causey AI, utilizing deeper AI agents. Lou, what are you seeing kind of from a, not necessarily a frustration, but of precaution that some of our customers are announcing as it relates to all of these new features that are being rolled out in the near term?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting back to Reddit, I mean, the cool thing about Reddit is it's like the early warning system, or, you know, the canary in the coal mine. So it brings things up that, you know, a lot of consensus there. And I think we're seeing a lot of the same concerns across mid-market companies, and which helps us to know kind of where to position Nuage. And right now the message is pretty clear. It's like, stabilize the foundation before you add AI.
No, I think well said. From a prediction of the biggest customer value going into next year, Lou, where do you even start? You know, I think AI, as powerful as it is, it's hard to encompass the value that this is going to drive to organizations, especially our deeper manufacturing distribution companies. We don't have an AI data analyst, but everybody is asking us, as well as kind of NetSuite experts, to really give their forethought into what AI is really going to do for their organizations. Where do you think the value is going to be coming from?
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see this internally, because we're using AI internally as well to help us for our own instance of NetSuite and to make things more effective. I think the top one probably is AI assisted audits. So auditing configurations, workflows, roles, making sure things are set up properly. That's kind of a basic one. The next one is really, you know, predictive operational insights. So, you know, looking at the inventory, supply chain, cash flow, work centers, those types of things. And then the third one, if I go with the top three, is probably remediation, automated remediation. So just not just recommendations, but actually where it will go and fix things. So yeah, I think, you know, today NetSuite can tell you what's wrong. I think in 2026 it will increasingly tell you what to fix, or actually fix it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of the opportunity resides in that, where you can make better decisions quicker and react to changing market dynamics, as opposed to having to wait a month or two to see where things are lagging. But, you know, I think one of the biggest tenets is, we've said this for years, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Having good, clean information in your systems is critical to the success, because AI is not foolproof. I mean, who's asked ChatGPT something and gotten a ridiculous answer back? All of us have it, something or another. So having an AI model that's consistent and intuitive in what it's looking for and looking at is going to be critical for a lot of organizations. And I think an underrated area, and maybe this is just my personal working with a lot of manufacturing organizations, but automation of processes, right? You get an email from a vendor on a delayed purchase order. Well, now, because they're not going to update your system, right, dynamically, you're going to have to go into NetSuite, update the purchase order, update the individual line for that one. Same thing on the customer side. Hey, I need this shipped now. I need this shipped next week, not today. Automating just those little tasks that those cause a lot of chaos in supply chains. Mm-hmm. When they aren't updated, product doesn't get ordered in time and you miss deadlines. You have excess inventory you're carrying on your balance sheet that you're not selling through. Those types of things that can streamline and enhance and enrich the data in NetSuite, I think will have a tremendous amount of value for a lot of our distribution and manufacturing.
Yeah, I think to that point, as you noted, Glenn, utilizing some of the new features being rolled out with the announcements at SuiteWorld. Admittedly, when they kind of gave us the 12 to 18 months with NetSuite Next, things are moving fast, a lot faster than I think anybody anticipated. What, from your perspective, Glenn, from your perspective, might surprise us sooner than later with all of the NetSuite Next features and functionality?
I think that's probably the number one. The top one, the one you just mentioned, Louis, is we might be underestimating how quickly Oracle will get this done. Unify analytics and AI. They're really they're moving very aggressively, and so I've been normally whenever NetSuite announces something, it can take a while for it to actually get to prime time. We might be surprised how quickly we get to prime time this time.
And I'm usually pessimistic on those types of things. I mean, just a realist, I guess. And I remember how long it took the last kind of data model UI rewrite. Took like 4 years, I think. And the things that I've been hearing is it's much quicker this go round, which is really exciting to see. And I think it shows, granted, corporate Oracle has got deep ties into OpenAI and ChatGPT, and they're moving at a breakneck pace. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I think across the peer groups, everybody is pleasantly surprised and super, super happy with, I think NetSuite planting the flag, saying they're going to be the #1 AI ERP. They're taking it seriously, and I think it will be a game changer for customers who are on NetSuite and individuals who are considering NetSuite or any of the other players. It's going to be quite a differentiator.
Louis, if I can add, I think one of the other things that we might be overestimating is just how many customers are going to be ready for AI. I mean, NetSuite's moving at a quick pace. Are customers ready to take it on? I mean, and I think what we've seen, just through our life cycle working with various customers, is a lot of them are only really using 20-40% of the key capabilities in NetSuite. And I think, when you're at that level, you're not quite ready for AI. You gotta, up the game to be ready to take advantage of these capabilities.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I think in that vein, curious if we can maybe switch gears a little bit and talk about what we're telling our customers right now. If customers were to do 3 things before NetSuite Next arrives, what would they be? Glenn, you want to take a crack at that?
Clean data, right? Make sure you have structure in your data so that the AI can interpret what key elements it needs to interpret, right? Because it's AI, just like humans, it can make mistakes. And then once you're getting to that point, test it thoroughly, make sure that you're training it in an appropriate way. Because the other thing that I'm sure people a lot smarter than me are tackling is you have manufacturing customers, you have service customers, you have different datas, different structures, different needs, different business models. How do you train one unified AI to interpret all of that? So my guess is that there is going to be some type of learning that has to occur for the AI to make sense of the NetSuite data model. So the better you understand the structure and setup of your system, and then the better you can train the AI system to be helpful to the business and not make mistakes. So I think those are two critical things.
I think, before Lou, we jump to your three, or for what you're thinking customers should be doing next. I just want to echo the fact that you're not alone, and this is what we do. So making sure you're in a position to take advantage of NetSuite Next is inherently part of our service offering. I know all the other partners are doing similar things, and I would highly encourage you to speak with partners who are working with numerous customers versus trying to do this on your own as a NetSuite admin, because there are going to be heaps and heaps of agents that you can build, that you can take advantage of, but without operational best practices and understanding how clean or messy the data is, garbage in, garbage out is the name of the game. So, Lou, I guess if you could paraphrase that and maybe echo what our internal phrase is, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and this is, really, we got this just from talking to some of our customers who they want to take on AI, but they know they're not quite ready. And so our internal motto is optimize, stabilize, modernize. And AI is really in the step 3, modernize. So first you got to optimize, then you got to stabilize, then you're ready to take on AI. Excuse me.
And, I guess in that vein, as you look at companies trying to formulate a budget going into 26, outside of what their current operational spend is with NetSuite and their subscription and potentially managed service or premium support, how should companies think about budgeting for AI in 2026?
Yeah, I'd look at it like 4 buckets. So, if you take each bucket at 25% of your budget, one bucket, optimizing what you currently have today. The next 25%, next bucket is really technical debt removal. And then next one is the AI readiness itself. So, workflows, data analytics. And then the last one is an innovation, new modules, more automation, integrations.
Yeah, and I think level setting some of the expectations, because just like in ERP implementation, the payoff not day one. The payoff's a little bit further down the road when you start to see things gel. We all know humans touch NetSuite. Humans are the ones who are interacting with it, making data, and there's a learning curve. And I think Forrester always does their wave, and we're definitely, at least from my mind, it feels like we're at the top of the peak of AI with the hype cycle, and we'll hit the trough, and then the trough of disillusionment, I think they call it, and then you come back out of it. So I think level setting some of those expectations, having realistic goals for your return on your investment and what you're looking to get out of it is a real critical thing that, we talk to some CFOs, controllers, and just having realistic expectations about what you're hoping to gather out of it. I will say, I think even just the financial exception management is a real, it's one of those things. It's like, why didn't you guys do this before? And the technology's been there. It's just it's such a simple thing that I think is going to add a lot of value to organizations to help identify changes in their processes that need to be captured. So,
and Glenn, in kind of that respect, what should companies wait on versus move on today? Start now, kind of post SuiteWorld announcements.
Yeah, I think tackling some of the core elements of the implementation to make sure you're utilizing the system effectively. Make sure that your adoption across the organization is strong. People understand the roles and functions and things that they're doing within the system. And, you know, maybe if you're looking at analytics, depending on what you're trying to get out of it, you know, you might want to wait and see how NetSuite Next affects that. Obviously, you don't want to be waiting forever. So there's a balance there. But what is it? Financial reporting? Okay, yeah, you should probably go ahead and do that. But is it deep learning analytics that you may save time and money and effort by seeing how NetSuite's going to interpret that and how that's going to work? So I think it's a balance and understanding what you're spending now versus how that spend may change in 6 months' time based on transitions and changes in the NetSuite application.
Yeah, I think, you know, probably the worst move companies could make is to wait on doing foundational cleaning up their data, cleaning up their processes. Because at the end of the day, AI won't fix messy processes. You know, it'll reveal them quicker, but you know, and the same with data. I mean, if you're giving AI bad data, well, you know, you're going to get bad results.
Yep.
That's definitely a given. Why don't you kind of honestly get your take on where NetSuite and Oracle NetSuite just nailed it this year with NetSuite Next, with all the announcements at Suite World. You know, Lou, what would you say is kind of the biggest win that you saw thus far?
I think the biggest win was just, you know, the clarity. You know, for the first time that I can remember in a long time, Oracle really articulated a multi-year modernization strategy. So, you know, and it's not just marketing, it's actually, we're seeing products come out and that work. So, you know, and you know, just to focus on, you know, more usability.
Yeah, I think this has definitely been the most exciting Suite World we've ever seen. There were a ton of announcements. The last 3-4 years have been field service, yay. That's 10% of customers, you know. And no knock on field service, it's just a small subset of the entire customer base. It feels, I don't know, Lou, you and I have been doing this a long time. It feels like back in the early days where every year at Suite World it was some major announcement like, holy crap, we've got to retrain our staff. We have to take all these steps. It's really exciting.
Well, and it applies to everybody.
It does, yeah. And I think a bigger underpinning of this that a lot of people don't realize is just the platform changes to the underlying technology that have to occur or have occurred, right? Because, you know, NetSuite was founded in 1999 or 98, I can't remember, one of those years. And anytime you start to build an application, and, you know, NetSuite didn't build like traditional software systems. They didn't build this system and then they, you know, upgrade on premise. It's been the same platform pretty much since the beginning of its inception. You inherit technical debt over that time. I remember when Oracle acquired them and they had to upgrade the databases and do tons of infrastructure work, which did affect their ability to ship new features and functionality because they were working under the hood. And I think a big piece of that is some of those foundational elements that they've been building to embrace AI. I think people are going to be pleasantly shocked with the outcomes from that.
No, it's exciting that the time is now. You know, I know we've talked about the past major releases. You know, kind of want to end here with just closing. You know, 2025 was definitely a preparation year with all of our customers with these announcements, getting the data cleaned up. 2026 is going to be a transformational year. You know, companies with the clean data, stabilized processes are going to be the ones who just leap ahead of everybody else. You know, modernizing their reporting with being AI ready. and not to say the folks who don't take advantage of this are going to struggle, but you're going to have to go through the same process. To Glenn's point, you're going to have to clean it up eventually. AI is not going to clean up your data. We wish it would, but it is not going to.
It may try. It probably won't get it right.
They will, maybe 2 to 3 years from now. But kind of in conclusion, Glenn, Lou, anything you want to add as we talk kind of crystal ball in 2026? And
I think a big thing is just the excitement and buzz around it is really good to see. And I think it's going to have a big impact on a lot of the organizations that are utilizing NetSuite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's an exciting time. And what's exciting too is companies are not just looking at AI with respect to NetSuite, but how do we implement it throughout the whole organization? So that we're touching on all aspects. How do we make each department more efficient? And I mean, I always like to say with AI, it's like, how can AI eliminate those soul-sucking tasks that we all have to do? And if we didn't have to do them, it would be nice to focus on what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for the time. Hope everybody enjoyed this LinkedIn Live. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're pretty easy to get a hold of. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Lou and Louie.
Thank you.